Clearly visible. Okay, good. Now we can see we are going to start the analytical chemistry, right? Good evening Amisha, good evening Archika, good evening Dikshant, good evening Himanshu, right? And today we are going to start analytical chemistry, right? We should know the objective of analytical chemistry, why we need to do so, right? There are so many salts are available in the lab, and if you want to identify which salts we are dealing with, for that we require some chemical test, right? So analytical chemistry deals with qualitative and quantitative analysis of the unknown substances with the help of chemical test. Now here in this case we can use sodium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide for the chemical test, right? Now why using sodium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide? You will observe some color changes during the reactions, and there may be some formation of the precipitate. So based on the color and formation of the precipitate, right, so we can identify the unknown substances, right? So this will help us to identify unknown substance with the help of the chemical test. Here we are using sodium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide in analytical chemistry, and when we use the this ammonium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide on few salts, you will see different kind of colors. But before going to that, we should know there are some colored ions and there are some colorless ions, right? And we should know about them. If you learn their color of the ion, the answer will become very easy if they ask something based on this color, right? So now we can see here I have written few ions, and then we can easily categorize them, colored ions and colorless ions, right? I'm specifically have written cations, right? Now you can see here copper is blue and green color, right? And chromium ion is always green color, right? Manganese ion is always Mn2 plus ion is always pink in color. Then if there are, we know that iron is showing 2 valency, right? 2 plus and 3 plus. We have ferrous ion, we have ferric ion, but both are showing different colors, right? In this case we can see the Fe2 plus is showing green color and Fe3 plus is showing a yellow color. If you know the color, we can easily find out what is the color of the precipitate. So before learning this reaction, you should know the color of the different cations and anions, and on the basis of this you can easily tell the color of the precipitate, because during board examination most of the time you will get 10 marks question based on analytical chemistry, and this is very easy if you understand the concept, right? And that's why I will ask you to learn the color of the cations and anions, so that whenever you have to give their color of the precipitate, you can easily write, right? So we have already learned copper. If you know the copper salts are known as blue vitriol, that is copper sulfate is known as blue vitriol. Why? Because copper ion is the blue or green color, because copper chloride is bluish green color, right? And that's why I have written green color also. Copper sulfate is always blue in color, that's why it is known as blue vitriol, right? So now the chromium ion is how much? Chromium there is 3 plus, the manganese is 2 plus, right? We know their valency, but we should know about their color also, right? So manganese pink color, ferrous 2 plus, ferric yellow or brown, right? And cobalt is blue or pink color. Cobalt is, right? And then you can see here nickel is, what is the color of the nickel ion? That is green color. Okay, again today 3 are watching, so many have joined but nobody is watching. Okay, Kritika, now we will start some reaction of the first of all we'll study with the sodium hydroxide, and we know that sodium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide, when you try to find out about their nature, sodium hydroxide is strong alkali which will dissociate completely in an aqueous solution, and it will furnish more number of hydroxide ion in comparison to ammonium hydroxide, right? Ammonium hydroxide is what? Ammonium hydroxide is a weak base, right? Ammonium hydroxide is weak base. It will give us less number of hydroxide ion. In some cases you will observe that ammonium hydroxide is not able to precipitate some substances, but if you are using sodium hydroxide, since it is giving more number of hydroxide ion, so it can help us in the precipitation of the following substances. So let's see the reaction. We have already understood the nature of sodium hydroxide. It is a strong alkali, and it will be completely ionized in the presence of the aqueous solution, right? It means it is going to give us more number of hydroxide ion in comparison to ammonium hydroxide, which is a weak base, which will be partially ionized and gives less number of hydroxide ion, right? So first case, now we are going to study the first salt which we have taken here is calcium nitrate, and calcium ion is always white color, we know that, right? So when you take the calcium and sodium hydroxide, actually this is the example of a precipitation reaction. So many reaction I have written over here, so this is the example of precipitation reaction, right? So calcium nitrate plus sodium hydroxide is going to give me sodium nitrate. Double decomposition reaction is going to take place. So they are going to exchange their ions, and after the chemical reaction you will observe white precipitate of calcium hydroxide will be formed, which is insoluble in water, right? So what is the color of the precipitate? White, and which is insoluble in water, right? So we have understood the first reaction. Now when you see the magnesium ion is always white in color, right? Or you can see when it is it also comes under what? Colorless cations, right? So we can see here the Fe2 plus magnesium 2 plus, which salt we have taken here? Magnesium chloride plus sodium hydroxide. Now you can see here again double decomposition reaction is going to take place, right? So which salt which precipitate we are going to get? Obviously magnesium hydroxide. We know that magnesium hydroxide is insoluble base. What will be the color of the precipitate? We are going to get dull white precipitate of magnesium hydroxide, right? Understood? So magnesium hydroxide, dull white precipitate. Now the next is we have already learned about the colored cation. We can see here the magnesium comes under what? Colorless cation, right? Calcium is also comes under colorless cation, right? And then barium is also colorless cation, aluminium is also colorless cation, then tin, lead, zinc, cadmium, ammonium, right? Potassium, sodium, mercury, these all cations comes under what? Colorless cation. And we know that some anions are very colored and they can be easily identified. For example, if you want to see permanganate ion, that is generally pink or purple in color. Okay, ma'am, screeching sound is coming from the mic. Okay, just let me shift. Now is it okay? Is it okay? The sound is okay? Same here. Once again. Just let me know. Sound is okay or not? Okay? Now, okay. I have shifted the mic. Now, we can see here, once again I am repeating, we should know the few colorless cations: sodium, mercury, potassium, magnesium, calcium, barium, aluminium, then tin, lead, zinc, cadmium, ammonium ion, these all comes under the category of colorless cation. And I was talking about permanganate ion, that is what actually pink or purple in color. That's why potassium permanganate, whenever it is going to form solution, it is going to form purple color solution. And whenever you get the potassium dichromate solution, it is orange in color. So that's why because which ion is present? Dichromate ion is present, that is Cr2O7. And what is the color of this ion? That is orange. Right? Clear? Okay, now we have understood about this, right? So let's come back to this reaction. So I told you the Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus. What is the color of Fe2 plus? Green. And what is the color of Fe3 plus? Yellow and brown. And we have taken both the salt. We have taken Fe2 plus salt also, that is ferrous sulfate, and FeCl3, that is 3 plus ion. So we know the color of the Fe2 plus ion is green and the color of Fe3 plus is yellow or brown. So when we take sodium hydroxide, it is a soluble base, it is a strong alkali. With ferrous sulfate, again double displacement reaction is going to take place. Right, Dikshant? Tell me what will be the product if you take FeSO4 plus sodium hydroxide. FeSO4 plus sodium hydroxide. Tell me fast. Dikshant, Kritika, what happens when sodium hydroxide reacts with FeSO4? Yes, Kritika, Archika. When FeSO4 reacts with sodium hydroxide, we get dirty green precipitate of ferrous hydroxide. What is this? This is ferrous hydroxide. The formula is FeOH whole twice. Right? Why FeOH whole twice? Because hydroxide valence is 1 minus and ferrous valence is 2 plus. So the formula of ferrous hydroxide will be, yes. So FeOH whole twice plus Na2SO4. Yes, Dikshan, it's not NaSO4. We will get Na2SO4. So we will get Na2SO4 plus FeOH whole twice, and the color of the precipitate. On the basis of the color, we can easily tell that the ferrous hydroxide is produced. And what is the color? We know that dirty green insoluble precipitate can be seen here when we add sodium hydroxide to ferrous sulfate. Now, if we take a ferric chloride in this case and we have taken sodium hydroxide, we know that sodium chloride is a soluble salt, but we will get insoluble hydroxide, that is ferric hydroxide. And I told you ferric iron shows two color, either yellow or brown. So we will get reddish brown precipitate of ferric hydroxide. What will be the color of this? The yellow reddish brown precipitate of ferric hydroxide. So on the basis of the we are using both are the ferrous and ferric salts, and we are using the same alkali. But if you get dirty green color precipitate, right, it means it is ferrous hydroxide. If you get reddish brown color precipitate, it means it is ferric hydroxide. Yes, reddish brown precipitate. Now in this case, I told you copper generally, either the copper ion is generally color is blue or green. Copper chloride is bluish green in color. Copper sulfate is only blue color. So it will show the both the color in some cases, the blue as well as green, right? So in this case, since we are using blue vitriol, that is copper sulfate. Now once again, tell me the product which will be formed after this. Sodium hydroxide plus copper sulfate, and the color of the solution of copper sulfate is blue, since copper ion is present, 2 plus ion is present, and copper sulfate is always known as a blue vitriol. Why blue vitriol? Because the color of this salt is blue, right? So when you make this solution, you will get a blue color solution. So what will happen to this blue color solution? Yes, Archika has written reddish brown precipitate. What happened to Himanshu? Himanshu, where you have gone? Okay, so in the next case we have understood when copper sulfate is going to react with sodium hydroxide, we will get in this case pale blue insoluble precipitate of copper hydroxide, right? So what is the color in this case? Pale blue insoluble precipitate of copper hydroxide, that is CuOH whole twice, right? So in this case, what is the color of the precipitate? Pale blue. If you get a pale blue precipitate, it means the copper ion is present in the copper sulfate salt was there, right? And if you are using white zinc sulfate in this case, now here there are two observation, right? You can do this test into the two steps. When you take a normal quantity of sodium hydroxide in case of zinc sulfate, we will get white gelatinous precipitate. White gelatinous precipitate. We will get white color gelatinous precipitate of zinc hydroxide. Wherever you see the precipitate is formed, you can see here I have shown the downward arrow. This downward arrow shows the formation of precipitate, right? So in this case we will get white gelatinous precipitate of zinc hydroxide. But when we add excess of sodium hydroxide in this precipitate, that is a zinc hydroxide, if you use excess of sodium hydroxide, this white color precipitate will become soluble due to the formation of sodium zincate, that is Na2ZnO2, right? So this white gelatinous precipitate will be soluble in excess of sodium hydroxide due to the formation of sodium zincate. So we can see here, so ZnOH whole twice plus 2NaOH when we use in excess, so we will get Na2ZnO2 plus H2O, right? And this is a colorless solution. It means you can see the changes from white gelatinous to colorless solution. This proves the presence of zinc sulfate. So again, once again you can confirm that it is a zinc sulfate, because zinc sulfate form white gelatinous precipitate by adding sodium hydroxide. When you add excess of sodium hydroxide in the zinc hydroxide, this precipitate will be soluble. Why it will be soluble? Due to the formation of sodium zincate, which is a soluble colorless solution. Clear? Now nobody is writing any response. Let me know who all are watching. Archika, Kritika. Yes, Kritika, tell me beta. Now I am going to discuss the last one, that is lead nitrate with the sodium hydroxide. What is going to happen with what will be the color of the precipitate with lead nitrate, which is a soluble salt, is going to add in the sodium hydroxide. Clear, Archika, Dikshant? So what happens when sodium hydroxide will be added to lead nitrate? Lead nitrate is a soluble salt, sodium hydroxide is a soluble base. Both are soluble, but when you mix them together you will get a precipitate, right? Out of two new products, you will get one of the product will be in the precipitate form. That's why these all reaction, a precipitation reaction, right? On the basis of the color of the precipitate we can identify the given salt, right? And that's why we are doing the analytical chemistry, where we can use either sodium hydroxide or ammonium hydroxide. In the beginning I have told you. So chalky white precipitate, Archika has written the correct answer, chalky white precipitate. But this chalky white precipitate will be, so when you add excess of sodium hydroxide to this chalky white precipitate, this will be soluble due to the formation of sodium plumbite, that is Na2PbO2 plus H2O. So this will confirm the presence of lead nitrate, the presence of the lead ion. How come? When you take lead nitrate, which is a soluble one, when you add sodium hydroxide in this, you will get a chalky white precipitate of PbOH whole twice. What will be the salt? Sodium nitrate salt is a soluble salt. Please remember one thing. potassium, sodium, ammonium salts are always soluble salt. So whenever potassium, sodium and ammonium is going to form salt, these salts will be always soluble in water. So you can see here the sodium salt, that is Na2, ZnO2 is soluble, sodium nitrate is also soluble, sodium sulfate is also soluble, sodium sulfate is soluble, sodium chloride is soluble. So whenever sodium is going to form their salts are always soluble. It means the other product will be in the precipitate form. You will never write the downward arrow here, because we know that whenever sodium is going to form salt, the sodium salts are always, sodium, potassium and ammonium salts are always soluble salts, right? Rest all metals, they form insoluble salt, but if you see the potassium or sodium or ammonium, these salts are always soluble one, right? So now when you take this chalky white precipitate, add to the sodium hydroxide, this chalky white precipitate will become a soluble in excess of sodium hydroxide. Why it is soluble? Because there is a formation of sodium plumbite. Sodium plumbite is a soluble salt, right? Sodium plumbite is a soluble salt. So we have understood the presence of the lead ion here with the help of this test. So generally in the board they ask both the reaction, and in this case you should know the reaction, right? So how will you prove that the given salt is lead nitrate? With the help of sodium alkali, and they will give you indirectly hint also, it is going to form some precipitate which will be soluble in excess of sodium hydroxide. So you can easily tell the lead nitrate is a soluble salt, right? When you add in this sodium hydroxide, you will get a chalky white precipitate, and when you add this excess of sodium hydroxide, it is going to give us soluble salt of sodium plumbite. So is this reactions are clear or not? These reactions are clear. We have understood the different color of the ions here. We have understood the colorless cations also, sodium ion, Na plus, Hg2 plus, K plus, Mg2 plus, Ca2 plus. These all ions are colorless cations, and these ions are colored cations. Right? Understood, Kritika? Okay, so now we are going to do these same reactions. We are going to use the same salt, but now this time instead of using sodium hydroxide, we will be using ammonium hydroxide. So let's discuss ammonium hydroxide, the same reaction with the ammonium hydroxide. So I am going to remove these. Okay, now when we use calcium nitrate with ammonium hydroxide, right, so no reaction is going to take place. No reaction in the sense you can say no precipitate is going to take place. Tell me why. In the beginning I told you sodium hydroxide is a strong base. It is going to ionize completely. It is going to furnish more number of hydroxide, because hydroxide ions. Why? Because it is a strong alkali. But when you take ammonium hydroxide, it is going to, you can say, the partially ionized. It is going to give us less number of hydroxide ion. Due to the less number of hydroxide ion concentration, it is not going to precipitate calcium hydroxide. So in this case no precipitate will be formed. So if you want to identify calcium nitrate, so you can easily tell which is going to form white precipitate in the sodium hydroxide, but it is not going to form precipitate in case of ammonium hydroxide. The given salt will be calcium nitrate. So you can easily identify this salt which is going to form white color precipitate in the presence of sodium hydroxide, but it is not going to give any precipitate in the presence of ammonium hydroxide. So the given salt is calcium nitrate. So no PPT is going to form in this case. Why no PPT? Because of the low concentration of low concentration of hydroxide. Why low concentration of hydroxide? Because in this case we are using ammonium hydroxide, and which is a weak base, and it is going to give us less number of hydroxide ion. It is going to partially ionize, right? So now let's do the next reaction. In the next reaction, what we are going to take? We are going to take the magnesium chloride salt, which is white in color. The salt is white in color, and when you take ammonium hydroxide, once again double decomposition reaction will takes place. Two new product will be formed, and out of two new product, one product will be in the form of precipitate, and we are going to get dull white precipitate of magnesium hydroxide in this reaction, right? So let's write this reaction. So we have taken magnesium chloride and ammonium hydroxide, so we will get 2NH4 2NH4Cl 2NH4Cl plus MgOH whole twice, downward arrow, and we are going to get dull white PPT in this case. So we are going to get dull white precipitate, right? Now the next one is FeSO4, right? Again, if you take 2NH4OH, we will get NH4 whole twice. SO4 means ammonium sulfate, and I told you in the beginning, sodium, potassium, ammonium salts are soluble salts. It means this will be the soluble one, and we will get ferrous hydroxide, and we know it is going to give us dirty green precipitate. This downward arrow shows the formation of precipitate. What will be the color of the precipitate? Dirty green precipitate, right? Now the next salt is FeCl3, means Fe3 plus ion is present in the ferric chloride. So when we take NH4OH, again we are going to get, now in this case we will take 3NH4OH, so we will get 3NH4Cl. Again it is ammonium salt, so this will be the soluble salt, plus now we will get FeOH whole thrice. Now this is a balanced, completely balanced. Now downward arrow, it means what will be the color of the precipitate? Reddish brown. So again we are going to get the same precipitate, reddish brown PPT, reddish brown PPT, right? Now the copper sulfate. If you are using this in the copper sulfate, you should know, I have already written down. So when we are using copper sulfate salt, and how we can test copper sulfate? By using ammonium hydroxide. This question is very important. In the most of the time they ask in the board examination, identify the salt which will give the you can see the, what is the color? Yes, pale blue precipitate in the beginning, but when you add excess ammonium hydroxide, it is going to give us deep inky blue solution, right? So solution is going to turn to deep inky blue. So identify the salt. So we know that in this case which salt we are going to use, that is copper sulfate. Ma'am, noise is coming. Again noise is coming, beta. Noise is coming.
कुछ नहीं आ रहा, आराम से पढ़ो.
Okay, so FeCl3, we can see here what is the color of the precipitate? Reddish brown precipitate of ferric hydroxide. What is the color of the precipitate? That is reddish brown precipitate, right? Now the next salt which we are going to use is copper sulfate, and when we use ammonium hydroxide, in the first case we will get the pale blue precipitate of copper hydroxide, but when we add excess of ammonium hydroxide, the solution is going to turn to deep inky blue, and this will become a soluble one, right? So let's write. Okay, so now I am going to write NH4 whole twice SO4. Again, ammonium sulfate is soluble salt, we know that. It means we are going to get CuOH whole twice copper hydroxide precipitate, and the color of the precipitate will be pale blue PPT. Pale blue precipitate is going to form. Now what happens when we add axis of this to the reaction mixture? Now this is the reaction mixture. So NH4 SO4 plus CuOH whole twice, this is the reaction mixture. And if you add axis of ammonium hydroxide, that is 2NH4OH, so what we are going to get? We are going to get tetraamine copper hydroxide. Now what is this? This we are going to get the soluble. What is the color of this solution? This will be the soluble salt. And what is the name? Since there is a 4, so tetraamine, right? Tetraamine, then copper hydroxide. What is chemical name? Tetraamine copper hydroxide plus 4H2O. And because of this you will get, what will be the color of the solution? Deep inky blue solution. Understood? Now clear? Okay. Now what is the color of the solution now? It means initially there was a precipitate, pale blue precipitate. When we have added less amount of ammonium hydroxide to the copper sulfate, and there will be formation of pale blue precipitate, right? When you add the axis of ammonium hydroxide to this reaction mixture, we will get deep inky blue solution because of the formation of tetraamine copper hydroxide. Please see the formula: copper, then bracket NH3 whole 4, then bracket close, then OH whole twice, right? So we tetraamine copper hydroxide. And what is the color of this solution? Deep inky blue solution. Clear? Now the next reaction, we are going to do the same reaction with the zinc salt. Okay, now when we take zinc sulfate, right, and add ammonium hydroxide, right, so we will get, what is the color of the zinc precipitate? White gelatinous, right? White gelatinous precipitate, or you can see the dirty white precipitate. So Zn, we are going to get NH4 whole twice SO4 ammonium sulfate, which is a soluble one, and we are going to get zinc hydroxide precipitate. And what is the color of this? White gelatinous precipitate, or you can say dirty white precipitate, right? So white gelatinous precipitate. Now what happens when we add axis of ammonium hydroxide to this white gelatinous precipitate? It is going to become a soluble one. So let's try. So the white gelatinous PPT will be formed. Now what happens when we add axis of this? So we are going to add axis of zinc hydroxide. When you take, I'm talking about the reaction mixture. So in reaction mixture we have ammonium sulfate as well as zinc hydroxide. So plus NH4 whole twice SO4 plus 2NH4OH. Once again we are going to get the soluble salt. once again we are going to get soluble colorless salt. So let's see what will be the color of the salt. I told you it's a colorless. So Zn NH3 whole 4 and OH whole twice plus 4H2O. Once again we are going to get the complex salt tetraamine zinc hydroxide. So tetraamine zinc hydroxide. Is it clear? So tetraamine zinc hydroxide. Clear? So now on the basis of this, in this case, so you will get the, if you add excess of ammonium hydroxide, you will get a deep inky blue color solution. But if you are using zinc sulfate, if you are using excess of ammonium hydroxide, the solution is going to turn to colorless, right? And it means this white gelatinous PPT is going to dissolve if you add excess of ammonium hydroxide. Now why it is happening so? Because there is a formation of tetraamine zinc hydroxide. Is it clear? Just see in the board, and the last one more is reaction is left, and then we'll start the reaction with the. Understood? So clear, Kritika? Good. Now let's write the last reaction of this, and then we'll go further. Now only lead nitrate is left behind. So PbNO3 whole twice plus 2 NH4OH. Now both are soluble, right? When you mix them together, you will get NH4NO3 ammonium salt. Once again it is ammonium salt. So what is going to happen? Ammonium salts means what? It is a soluble one, right? So 2 NH4 NO3 plus, now we are going to get PbOH whole twice. Once again the precipitate will be formed. Clear? The precipitate of what? Lead hydroxide. And what is the color of lead hydroxide? Chalky white precipitate. So we are going to get chalky white PPT. Now we can easily tell if you are using ammonium hydroxide in the given salt. If you get dirty green precipitate, it means we are using ferrous ion is present and we are using ferrous sulfate. If we are after adding ammonium hydroxide to the FeCl3, if you are getting reddish brown, so once again it confirms the presence of FeCl3. Then if you are getting chalky white precipitate, it means it is a lead salt is present. Then if you are getting white gelatinous, it means zinc salt is present. Then if you are getting pale blue precipitate, it means copper ion is present and copper salt is present, right? So this shows the presence of the different ions. So with the help of analytical chemistry, we can identify unknown substance with the help of the chemical test. And for these chemical tests, we have used sodium hydroxide, which is a strong alkali, and ammonium hydroxide. Right, now let's go to the next page. The next page of this, we are going to see the some action of the alkali on few metals, right? There are few metals which react with alkalis and they are going to form. So what could be the observation based on this? Once again you can confirm zinc ion, then lead ion and aluminium ion, right? So let's write those reaction. If you remember, I had taught you the same thing in class 9th also. We have done those reactions. Yes, Archika, if you remember. Ritika. Now which all metal we are using? We are using zinc, and we know that sodium hydroxide is a strong alkali. KOH is means potassium hydroxide is also. So in that case, what we are going to get? We are going to get sodium zincate Na2 ZnO2. If you remember the preparation method of hydrogen gas, right? So plus hydrogen gas in this case. Now in this case we are going to get K2 ZnO2 plus hydrogen gas. So we can see the effervescence of bubbles of hydrogen gas in this case, right? Dikshant written clear. Okay, so when you warm these metals along with the concentrated sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, in both the cases salt will be, in this case we will get salt, sodium zincate, since we are using here sodium hydroxide. In this case we are using potassium hydroxide, so we will get potassium zincate and hydrogen gas, right? Hydrogen gas. Here sodium zincate and hydrogen gas, right? Now if we are using, the next metal is lead. If we are using 2 NaOH with lead and or 2 KOH, I am using both alkali, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. In this case you are going to get sodium plumbite, so Na2PbO2, plus in this case also you are going to get hydrogen gas, and then K2PbO2 potassium plumbite plus hydrogen gas will be formed. Easy. So the next is aluminium. This is the last one. Al plus sodium hydroxide. Right, now in this case we need to add water. So plus H2O, then you will get NaAlO2 sodium aluminate plus hydrogen gas, right? Then 2Al plus KOH plus H2O, we will get potassium aluminate plus hydrogen gas. So we have observed whether you are using zinc or lead or aluminium. If you are using alkali, if you are warming alkali with these metals, you are going to get salt and hydrogen, right? Salt and hydrogen. Clear? So what is the name of this salt? Sodium zincate, potassium zincate, sodium plumbite, potassium plumbite, sodium aluminate, potassium aluminate. What is common in all reaction? We are getting hydrogen gas. Is it clear? Archika, Dikshant, right? Kritika. In the next class, one topic is left. So in the next class, we'll complete this and we'll be doing the board question, right? And then I will start ammonia. Okay, beta. Thank you.